Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Jocelyn Lovely, so good to see you guys here today. Jocelyn Lovely Tarot, sorry, had to update that. I am so excited today. I wanted to do a reading for you guys yesterday, but I was just tired. I needed to rest. There's a lot of things that came into my life that were unexpected and clearly to teach me lessons. So anyways, we're starting our reading off today. I think it's Cancer. I have my beautiful Cancers ready to go. I received a lot of messages, so comment on the chat if there's some things that you're confused about or things that you relate to that you want to add as an addition to the conversation. So, yeah, let's just do Cancer today. Yeah, we left off on Gemini last week. All right, my beautiful Cancers, if you're not a Cancer but you resonate with the reading, like, share, and subscribe. I love you. All right, so today we're starting with the beautiful, that's the first one that came out, was the World. She's so pretty. Really gorgeous energy. What came out with it after, it almost seems like you've gotten to a place in your life where you're ready for change, which is why the World comes. It's like you've learned everything you needed to, but you want to be in a different setting. Whatever you used to doing or being isn't fulfilling anymore. So, but she's intently looking at this wand energy. You see this Ace of Wands? I'm getting more of, you see, because she's in psychic realm, right? She's made it. She's enjoying herself. She's so in tune with, it's kind of like you've recently discovered new aspects of yourself in the way maybe you're dealing with things and situations about yourself that maybe it's like you're over with, you're done with, like whatever way you were dealing with people, let's just say that, right? If you were dealing with people in a certain way, it's like no longer working for you. I feel like it gets to the point where like you look at this beautiful wand energy, very desire-like energy. It's almost like you want to be in this state of being, this state of mind. You want this to become your reality, going from this to this, a new beginning. Why do I mention that? It's because a lot of it really has to do with you realizing you don't want to be a specific person anymore. And when I talk about people, the only reason this is all about relationships is because of the cards that came up. I'm sensing somebody here who maybe at one point you weren't able to communicate with people effectively. So at the time, maybe you just didn't know how you react towards people or how persuasive you are with what your wants are and what your needs are, or maybe anything to do with self-respect. It's almost as if you couldn't see clearly how to obtain or hold yourself safe in your own boundaries. Right? You see these cups are just, it just feels like they're getting enhanced, they're being intuitively, it's like every single cup in here is an option. You have options here about how to approach your life, how to meet your own needs, right? But then it also involves other people. Maybe you've been in relationships where people don't respect your boundaries. They've never really took into account how you felt, right? And I'm getting that, yes, those are the people maybe you've been around, but it's all because you're finally realizing that maybe the way you react to situations or the way you handle people crossing your boundaries is not an ideal way to deal with it. It's not an ideal way. It's not getting you anywhere. So maybe you start looking within and you're like, maybe the problem is I'm not communicating effectively. 1, 2, maybe I'm over communicating, and maybe not in an assertive way, but more of an aggressive way. It could be one or the other. Or maybe you're passive aggressive, right? Somebody who's pretending to keep the peace at the moment, but really has issues. But they're not communicating it, so it causes a buildup of resentments. Do you see what I'm saying? I hope I'm making sense. I also want to say a shout out to to my beautiful Queen Cup. She's the baddest. Everybody knows who she is. Baddest tarot reader. She was talking about it last week, saying that like in one of her readings, her last reading, she mentioned that you were gonna realize if you were more on the empathic side, you were going to reclaim your apathy, right? Like the part of you that just only cares for self. Or if you're more on the other side of the spectrum, which is somebody who just cares about you and you only, you're learning empathy, right? You're learning both sides here. So what I got after that, she was right about that, because there's certain things that are happening in life that are bringing these areas up, specifically what's best fit for me. And then I was able to channel other things that came with it, right? And so this is where I'm coming up. What's coming up here is like the way that you're dealing with it isn't working for you anymore, right? Maybe you're a person who, let's say you are the most diplomatic person out there. Let's say you are somebody who's been working on your boundaries and speaking up for yourself. So maybe you did communicate with somebody, hey, let's say this is a work issue. Hey, every time this happens, I'm not able to meet a certain deadline because, this isn't being done by a specific people that are assigned to this specific task. So it's making my job harder in turn, right? And so you communicate with this and people say, okay, we understand. We're going to do this X, Y, and Z, and we're going to help you with that. And then let us know how else we can make this work. Then a week happens or a month goes by and nothing gets addressed. So then you bring it up again and again and again and again. And then it gets to the point where maybe you decide to move on, right? But the problem is, it's not necessarily that people aren't hearing you. That is definitely a thing. But it's more about your reaction. Because I feel like when people are pushing your boundaries or they're not meeting your needs when you've communicated to them exactly, your reaction could be, right? I'm talking to some specific individuals who your reaction gets the best of you. Then it comes to like somebody lashing out because they feel like they're out of control. So they feel like the only way they can control the situation is to lash out. Or maybe do something passive aggressively, right? Like pretend everything's okay and then start doing things that are chaotic to the work environment. Or maybe you just show up and you're not producing the same amount of work that you used to when you used to care, right? Because you feel like nobody cares about your needs. So this is an issue, right? So my thing here really is just what this is causing in your life, right? For example, you got Uranus in reverse. I'm more focused in this character being too big for his environment, right? Because it goes from being here. Again, this is like the opposite of Uranus would be like Saturn, limitations, devil energy, very, very suppressed, restricted, feeling like you're not happy, you're not being heard. And these are the energies that are coming up. And I feel like the reason you're being triggered at this level is because, one, it could be that you're not allowing yourself to fit your own needs. Like maybe you're in an environment where, these people validate things that you believe you're unworthy of within yourself, right? And two, that also could be because of some type of healing that you need to do. This could have stemmed from childhood, right? That anything that has to do with issues with boundaries or communicating effectively, maturing to a level of communication, has to do with your parents. So maybe you're dealing with, somebody being a person who's passive aggressive towards you, right? Maybe in turn that's what they're doing to you. And then it's triggering you. You don't know how to deal with it. So you're like, what the hell? And you talk to them about it and you feel like it's not getting anywhere. This has to happen because there's this healing that's going on with one of your parents. Maybe one of your parents, when you were little, you tried to set up boundaries and communicate effectively, and maybe one of them was manipulative towards you, and so they extorted you or threatened you or did things when you didn't do what they wanted. They got upset, so they started doing things towards you. And so it made you question whether it was even worth you saying no to somebody from then on, right? in turn you get a people pleaser or people pleasing tendencies, or maybe you're dealing with just something with childhood regarding how you weren't able to feel comfortable and safe in establishing good boundaries, right? Because if we're talking to somebody who's passive aggressive, they just want to keep the peace, right? They don't want somebody lashing out at them. They really don't feel like they're worthy of expressing themselves properly, right? So what they do is, instead of communicate with somebody effectively and let them know that they're hurt, what they do is pretend everything's okay, but then they become resentful, and then that mounts up, and then you end up being explosive. So again, these are wherever you fall in that scale, it's starting to become so evident, right? To the point where it's like, damn, this lesson keeps coming up, and for whatever reason, I'm getting extremely triggered with the same lesson over and over and over again. It could be different people, it could be the same people, it doesn't matter. It's the same lesson for the same reasons, because there's healing that needs to take place there. Once you heal and you understand the reason why you get extremely triggered like that, you'll be able to control your own environment more, right? Because again, I had somebody once tell me, this person's a genius. She told me, people will try to cross your boundaries. That's just what it is. We all will. We just do it. It's in our human nature is what we do. People will try to cross your boundaries, and you can try to tell them yes or no. That's still, some people, they don't care. They'll still try to cross those boundaries. And so you have a choice. You can either walk away from them, or you can establish a boundary. And what she said was, sometimes if they feel like they can't get their way, they'll walk away from you because they're used to having things specifically done in their way. If you don't participate in that, they could walk away, right? It's not a guarantee. But the whole point that I'm saying here is that it shouldn't really affect you. It shouldn't trigger you as the way it does. And if it does, it's because there's some healing that needs to take place, right? Because we don't want you going in there and lashing out at people, or doing vindictive things, or doing something to get back at, like, whether that's friends, work environment, family members, your own wife or husband, whatever it is, right? So these messages were coming up. Because you're aware of the karmic lesson that keeps happening, due to the ineffective communication or whatever it is. It may not be ineffective communication. It could just be one of those spectrums, right? Where you're trying to go from either people pleasing or passive aggressive to assertive, or going from defensive and aggressive to assertive. Establishing your boundaries, and when somebody crosses them, still feel okay. Feel healed enough, or cry and let yourself feel those emotions so that you feel strong and sturdy and still stay assertive about your boundaries being crossed. After that, you get fourth house roots. It's almost as if like you're getting celebrated, or like this is a cause for celebration, because what you're not understanding is you're healing something that was caused by your own lineage, right? Your family members or the way you grew up did this to you, right? And maybe that's why you were stuck with maturing to a certain level, right? Because this is healthy. These are healthy situations, or these are situations that you're supposed to learn as a child, how to deal with people and communicate effectively. And if some people weren't able to do that because their parents they're just not able to, that's not the family they were born into, you're establishing that for your own family, right? So that when you do have your own kids, you'll know how to deal with them, right? For example, everybody knows your kids are the ones that are going to push those buttons. If they feel hurt, if they feel whatever, disrespected, your response, people know they're the ones that will get to you the most because they're your kids. And it reflects badly, or like you feel like it may reflect badly on you, but it's not whatsoever. It's just kids get afraid. Kids are the perfect example. They get afraid. If humans could fuck up like that and make decisions where, they make decisions that were not rational, that were more based on emotions, how do you think kids are going to be, right? And you guys know better than I, right? When it comes to your kids, it's kind of like a balance. Like, do I let my child speak up and tell me how they feel? Or do I shut them down and let them know I'm the boss and you respect me, right? Because if you do that, then they're never going to learn to stand up for themselves in the future, right? They're never going to learn how to have boundaries or how to be assertive if their parent is too strict on them. Whereas if the parent is too passive, they're going to go around, demanding things and expecting things in return, right? So it's just learning lessons about how to deal with people effectively and right. And I feel like you're the type of person that's learning that maybe these ways or establishing these boundaries with your own kids is necessary, right? Because you're letting them know you can hear them and you understand that they're upset, but you're also letting them know, hey, I'm not okay with you talking to me the way you do. And so, however you establish your own boundaries with your kids is actually helping them, like I said, become more successful and more prone to healthy communication styles. And they're in turn, they're going to be able to do that for their own kids. So again, you're clearing up all of these issues, all of this pain, whatever happened to you as a kid, you're healing it. You don't want to make the same mistakes your parents made, right? You really want to have a good communication with the people around you, and they're in turn. What came out after with the fourth house is the seventh house partners, right? It's like you're at a point where you don't want to keep attracting people who keep crossing your boundaries, who keep not listening to you, who keep making you feel like you're unworthy of better, of love and respect, right? And so you're looking out there like, okay, I say I want a relationship where someone really listens to my needs, right? That's what I want. But for whatever reason, I'm not getting that. So that means that I have to go within and change so that I can start attracting somebody who better reflects respect, right? Because if, let's say, for example, if I'm the one that's aggressive and I'm the one that's crossing people's boundaries and think I can get things, think that I can get what I want at all times, that's not going to work with somebody else. Right? That's not going to work in a healthy relationship. You're only going to attract somebody that's a people pleaser. But in turn, they never do what you want anyways, because like I said, they're also going to be someone who goes against, being told what to do. Nobody likes to be told what to do. So you're learning to communicate effectively and also not to cross other people's boundaries. That could be the issue in turn too, right? Everybody has those issues where either, you're passive aggressive and people may tell you what to do, but that doesn't mean you're going to do it, and you're going to hurt people, but you're going to do it in a deceitful way, or you're the type of person that tries to control everybody. That's not going to work in a healthy relationship, right? So like I said, you're changing. In order for you to attract better, you need to be better. And that's what you're doing. I see you doing that. So congratulations. You're done with the life lesson, which is why the world came out earlier. What I had here earlier, we had Uranus in reverse, and then you have the Sun spirit here. Seems to me like a lot of masculine energy being activated. It's almost as, again, this is the doer, right? The doer, the person who goes and gets done. The person who goes and who's assertive, right? And it's almost as if like you're reprogramming your mind. You're reprogramming your mind to be not only effective at communication and strategy, but you're also opening your mind to being understanding of what your wants and needs are and doing what you need to make sure it happens for you, right? You're also healing masculine energy, right? Because again, if you have a problem with authority, that could be masculine energy that you're dealing with, right? If you're a person that doesn't like to be told what to do, you're learning that, hey man, you can't always get what you want. You have to learn to budge, right? So wherever scale that you're at, side of the scale that you're at, doesn't matter, because you're getting healing. It's like the feminine energy. Now you get feminine energy. I'm getting this beautiful energy that's being healed. It's like you need this healing. Think of this person feels wounded, it feels hurt, it feels misunderstood, it feels like nobody understands it, doesn't feel connected to people. It's like maybe that's what you were lacking, feeling connected to people, right? Because people who have issues like that with people pleasing or aggressiveness, you alienate people, sorry. And so it's almost as if you're getting some type of healing that you've needed to since you were a kid. You're healing that inner child energy, that masculine energy with feminine energy, right? Because your feminine energy is being activated, in turn making sure that you're being coddled and loved and hugged when you don't get your way. Or when you don't feel heard, right? it's when you're the nicest to yourself. It almost seems like your own lineage, right? Your guides are helping you with this. They're really happy for you. They're celebrating because they understand that you're willing to go deep within and really discover who you are at that level. Whether you're hurting people or people are hurting you, you're choosing to heal and change, not reacting the same way you used to, but creating a different, finding a different alternative with how to heal. You're healing this. You're doing the right thing by making the choice to heal and change, right? Instead of always blaming everybody else for the way things aren't going right for you. Whether that's in turn letting go of these people that are hurting you, or learning to be more understanding, right? Whatever it is. What's next here? Man, this is a powerful reading. So if you guys resonate, like, share, and subscribe, comment, let me know. If there's something here that you're questioning, or maybe have more questions about, let me know. Okay, I got the Queen of Wands, Seven of Pentacles. Almost seems like this person it's Queen of Wands energy, but almost seems like, again, two sides of the scale, and you just want it to be more balanced. You need this wand energy to be balanced, the way you stand up for yourself, the way you assert yourself, that fiery energy, right? Standing up with confidence, the confidence to be able to pursue what you want, whatever your needs are, and not feeling sorry if somebody, if you have to leave people behind, right? Not feeling sorry, not having to explain yourself more than you need to get what your needs met, right? It's also blue and yellow, right? Confidence. And blue, communicating effectively. Maybe you're a person that needs to sharpen their communication skills, right? Maybe you try to tell somebody something, and if you notice that they don't, they're not receiving what you're saying, you want to people please, and then you retract, and then you give in, and you're like, for example, right? I had a friend who said she was coming to Chicago, right? Because that's where I live. And I told her, like, hey, you can try to call me Sunday if you get overwhelmed at ORD, which is the airport, but I won't be available. I have to work, but you can try to call me. And she wasn't listening to what I was saying. So I was like, all right, you could try to call me, but I'm not going to be able to answer. But I was telling her in a nice way, where I told her this like 5-6 times, and I was hoping she understood. She said, And then Sunday came and she called me. And she left me a message after I told her you could try, but I'm not going to respond. I already set up my boundaries by telling her, do not do this, right? And I didn't even respond, right? I didn't want to respond, but it made me angry because I'm dealing with somebody, again, she's done this so many times. I'm just like, at this point, I'm about to go off on her. And so I told her, like, hey, I told you that I wouldn't talk to you until Monday because I'm working on Sunday. And she, didn't respond back. And so I didn't call her back till like Monday. And I told her Monday, like evening, right? Because I need to heal on Monday. I need to rest. So then I call her back, and then she gives me some BS with like, oh, well, now I'll have to wait and see because I thought you were going to call me on Sunday. And I literally, with a stern voice, it was very aggressive. I could have been nicer about it. Was, no, I told you I was going to call you on Monday because on Sunday I work. And I remember telling her that, but in a very stern voice, like the one I have now. And, that this is what I'm saying. It's like, it shouldn't even have gotten to me, but it did. It just brings back healing that needs to happen with me, with like my mom not listening to me when I was talking to her, my dad, or whatever it is, right? And so these triggers, if they're coming up in your life, this is all to say that if this is happening in your life, embrace the triggers. They're teaching you something about yourself that needs to be healed. So we leave off with the Queen of Wands with the Seven of Pentacles. We had 2 sevens here earlier, right? It's almost as if like you're gonna find some form of abundance through being able to express yourself clearly and setting boundaries. You're figuring out what is best for you, and in turn it's going to cause and bring forth a lot of peace and more stable connections in your relationships, in life in general. All right, guys, I think that's it for me. I mean, I don't know what else I can say. I said a lot. We said a lot. So I love you guys. Thank you so much, Cancer.